On Daf 76 of Eruvin, we get a question about a period we call Bein Hashmashot, basically twilight time. So really, when we go into Shabbat, we say it's about a 25-hour period. Now, really, it should be 24 hours, right? It should be exactly from when one day ends to the next. But the problem is we don't know exactly the moment that we go from one day to another. In the secular world, it's easy. We have, it's 11:59 and 59 seconds, and then bam, a second later, it's midnight and it's a new day. It's a very easy thing to be changing. It's a very easy thing to be measuring. But we don't know. We know that sometimes, when the sun is up, it's still daytime, and when the sun is totally down and there's stars in the sky, it's definitely nighttime. What about that kind of in-between period where the sun's down, but it's still bright in the sky? We get those, beautiful reds and everything in the sky. Which day is that? Is that, if it goes from Friday to Saturday, was that still Friday or is that now Shabbat? We don't exactly know when that moment is. So we extend it. We extend Shabbat to the first moment that it could be the next day. Well, that's when we'll start Shabbat. And the very last moment, what it could be the previous day, that's when we'll end Shabbat. So it comes out to be about 25 hours. But we bring up an interesting contradiction with that in Eruvin. Let's say there's a certain person who was asked, the messenger, asked by two different people to make an eruv for them. And you make this eruv on food. So for one person, he makes the eruv during the day before twilight begins. And that eruv food has to be eaten on Shabbat, is eaten during twilight time. Now, for the other person, he makes the eruv, puts it down during twilight, and it is eaten after dark. Well, which of these two eruvs is valid? Can't be both, right? Because if the twilight period is part of the day before, then the guy who had the eruv put down during the day and eaten it during twilight, well, his eruv didn't last into Shabbat at all. And if the twilight period is part of the following day, then the eruv was put down after Shabbat began and eaten after Shabbat began, and you can't do that. You have to put it down before Shabbat. So it can't be both. It's kind of a contradiction. Except the rabbi in this case ruled that both of them were good eruvin. And this goes back to a principle we were talking about earlier, which says we go lenient as possible. We go as lenient as possible when we're dealing with the issues of eruvin. So we're saying we don't know what this twilight period is. So actually, we'll take the lenient side of both of them. That for the first guy, the food was put down during the day and eaten during twilight. Okay, we'll say the twilight period was after the day turned from Friday to Saturday. For the second guy, where the food was put down during twilight and eaten after dark, we'll say the twilight period is part of the day before, that was put down before Shabbat began. And we'll allow the two of those to exist simultaneously, because the whole idea that we should be lenient with regard to eruvin.